Stewart-Haas Racing made a big announcement today at Indianapolis Motor Speedway and continued to drop some hints that other big announcements could be coming very soon. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to Out of the Groove. There've been a lot of rumors circulating around Tony Stewart and Stewart-Haas Racing. You know, Tony Stewart's made a lot of big announcements lately, introducing Tony Stewart Racing, his new NHRA team. Obviously, he just got married to drag racer Leah Pruitt. The SRX continues to ramp things up for season 2 next summer. And then this week, Stewart-Haas Racing had a major announcement set for today at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And everyone was speculating, what could this announcement be? It was pretty clear from the get-go this was going to be a major sponsorship announcement, but would there be any other details thrown in there? Many have speculated that Tony Stewart was going to announce he's coming back for maybe a one-off at the Indy Road Course next year. There was this photo of a t-shirt that is listed currently on NASCAR.com that was circulating, and I can't confirm this, but it appears as though this shirt has been listed on NASCAR.com and other Fanatics-related websites for more than a year. So I do not believe this shirt is tied into any impending announcement, but many have taken that and run with it. So there's a lot of speculation going into today's announcement. I wanted to react to it real quick before the weekend. But before we discuss what was announced and I give you guys my thoughts, I want to begin this episode with some sad news. Last night, racing legend Al Unser Sr. passed away at the age of 82. Sad news for the entire motorsports community. Al Unser, 4-time Indianapolis 500 champion, a legend. I wanted to express my sincerest condolences to the entire Unser family and the entire IndyCar community, the entire motorsports community. I know this is primarily a NASCAR show, but all motorsports fans gotta stick together. So very sad news. I'm wishing everyone the absolute best. Now, speaking of Indy, I guess, let's talk about Tony Stewart and Chase Briscoe's big announcement at Indianapolis Motor Speedway this morning. The red number 14 is back. No, not Office Depot. We're not getting a 2011 throwback scheme, but Mahindra Tractors instead has signed on to be the primary sponsor for Chase Briscoe's number 14 car this coming season for the majority of races. This is big, big news. Of course, Mahindra, that's a big brand that's been in NASCAR before. Great to see them back. And take a look at the car right here, that red and black. Woo! Yeah, that definitely gives you shades of, 2011, 2012 Tony Stewart, without a doubt. But for a young driver like Chase Briscoe, who has not really had a major corporate sponsor like that backing him consistently throughout his NASCAR career, this is a huge turn of events, and this has to give him a lot of confidence going into the 2022 season, as well as all of SHR. I mean, SHR in 2021 has been well documented. They struggled immensely by their standards. Now they've got some extra funding, some extra support from a major brand. Hopefully that propels them into the next gen era in 2022. But looking at that paint scheme again, I know I talk a lot about paint schemes on this show, but I like it. I love the colors. I think the Mahindra logo there is very large, taking advantage of that extra space, so that's check. Yeah, it's still a little hard to get used to seeing the numbers slid that far forward, but I don't think the 14 there is gonna get, I don't think it's gonna be warped in any significant way, and it's still very large. So all in all, I really like this paint scheme. So pretty cool announcement. That was really what this whole announcement was about. They'll be on Briscoe's car for the Daytona 500, and they actually will also be on Chase Briscoe's midget car for the Chili Bowl that takes place in January. So that's pretty cool. Chase Briscoe has some roots in dirt racing, so that's pretty exciting as well. Love seeing we've seen that a couple of times now. Like HendrickCars.com has done that with Larson, where they're sponsoring his Cup car, obviously, but also they've been all over his dirt racing stuff. A-Shock with Chase Elliott's been on a lot of his extracurricular activities in the last year or two. So I love seeing sponsors really support drivers who just race, who just drive. I kind of like that trend. I hope it continues. I mean, it's always been a thing in racing, but I'm glad to see it sort of making a resurgence, a return, if you will, in the modern racing landscape. Now, no, Tony Stewart did not announce today that he was going to come back and drive an Xfinity car or something next year. That doesn't mean it won't happen. Remember, Tony Stewart tentatively was expected to race the Xfinity race at the Indy Road Course in 2020, I believe. Remember, he wanted to give his hometown, home state fans one last chance to see him race in person, and then he backed out kind of late because of the pandemic. No fans were going to be allowed to attend. He said, oh no, it's not worth it if I can't race in front of my fans. So Tony Stewart did not race in 2020. He has not raced anything in NASCAR, to my knowledge, since 2016. He did test the next gen car at Bowman Gray a few weeks back, and remember, back in I think 2018, 2019, he was the first, or one of the first, to test a NASCAR stock car at Circuit of the Americas. Stewart is very self-aware, and he actually, it sounds like, teased the media a bit. This tweet from Bob Pockers, Fox Sports. Tony Stewart announcing Mahindra Tractor primary sponsorship of Chase Briscoe. It gives me the opportunity to get behind the wheel again of a tractor. And Pockers notes that there was some speculation he might do an Xfinity race. But again, no confirmation yet that Tony Stewart has any intention of getting back behind the wheel of a NASCAR stock car. I mean, Is there a reason that he should? Obviously it'd be fun and he'd probably be competitive at a road course in an Xfinity car, but yeah, I don't know, does it really make a lot of sense? Tony Stewart's got his hands full with the SRX, which is kind of a rival series to NASCAR, and that's the one that's got Stewart's name and branding all over it. Like, the only reason I could see Tony Stewart racing in NASCAR again for any reason is kind of one of the same reasons Dale Earnhardt Jr. still does one Xfinity race a year for his team. It helps solidify sponsorship. You know, I know Hellman's loves that Dale Jr. does that race every single year, and I'm sure there are other brands affiliated with Junior Motorsports that love the little bit of promotion they get that weekend. So the only reason I could see Tony Stewart running an Xfinity race, or any NASCAR race for that matter, is to solidify a major sponsorship deal. So I understand the speculation, Mahindra being the primary sponsor for Briscoe this year. That is a huge announcement. That's a huge deal. It wouldn't be shocking if there was a little Tony Stewart component thrown in there as well, but as of now, at least, it does not appear that is the case. I hate to rule it out entirely because, again, as recently as 2020, Tony Stewart was interested in running an Xfinity race. So it's absolutely possible, but it has not been confirmed just yet. Tony Stewart's got a lot of impending announcements, it sounds like. Of course, with his NHRA team and with recent rumors and speculation from those within NASCAR that Dodge could be close to returning to NASCAR. There's discussions that SHR might be one of the first big teams to switch to Dodge should they enter NASCAR. That's the big rumor. That's the big speculation. There's a lot of reports that Tony Stewart's going to announce some sort of Dodge partnership with his drag racing team in the coming weeks or months. So we'll see if that ever translates to his NASCAR program. That, again, he does share with Stewart-Haas. It's Stewart-Haas Racing, y'all. I still think it's possible. As I talked about like a month ago when the Dodge rumors first resurfaced, I talked about then that Stewart-Haas Racing, out of all the big teams in NASCAR today, made the most sense when it comes to switching manufacturers over to Dodge. Like, they just had a terrible year. They don't seem to be Ford's focus. Ford's really dug in with Penske. Penske's the team that really performed well this last season. SHR struggled. Tony Stewart himself has driven a ton of different manufacturers in his career. Stewart-Haas, they were Chevys when they were first introduced. Now they're Fords. He's not particularly loyal to any one manufacturer or another. I could absolutely see Stewart and SHR switching to Dodge in the next few years, but that's all way down the line. I'm getting ahead of myself. I thought this tweet from Adam Stern was interesting. He says, Stewart-Haas has beat out several other NASCAR teams to land a deal with Mahindra. Beat out. It implies that other teams were trying to get Mahindra to join forces with them, but Stewart-Haas won the war, if you will. Makes sense. I mean, I know NASCAR teams are very competitive off the racetrack as well when it comes to nabbing major sponsors. You gotta believe there are bitter rivalries there. There's backstabbing. Like, remember when Richard Petty was miffed that Smithfield left the team after what he believed was a handshake agreement to stay? That kind of stuff happens in NASCAR. That's like part of the shady underworld, if you will, that doesn't really get highlighted very often. But I just thought that was interesting to note that other teams were trying to get Mahindra involved with them, and Stewart-Haas apparently won the bidding war. I wonder if that means Stewart-Haas got a lesser deal. They, agreed to accept less money for it. I have no idea. Either way, a major partner like this, Mahindra, a major deal for a team like SHR that just struggled, that's a big deal. I'm excited, especially for Chase Briscoe, who obviously was dominant in 2020 in the Xfinity Series, struggled for the most part this year, but hey, most of SHR struggled. Sophomore year in the Cup Series next year, I have big hopes for Briscoe. I hope for more top 5s and top 10s at the bare minimum, and maybe if things go well, he flirts with a playoff spot. That should be the goal. If you're in an SHR car, I don't care if you're 16 years old, the goal every year should be playoffs. And if you fall short of that, it's a disappointing season, as 2021 was. That's all I really want to discuss in this quick episode. If you missed it earlier this morning, I talked about the recent reports that NASCAR is continuing to test higher horsepower at the 1.5 miles. So if you're a fan of bigger horsepower, be sure to check that video out. Some very interesting stuff happening behind the scenes at NASCAR with the teams at the moment, so go check that video out. But that's gonna do it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. We talk NASCAR news day in, day out. Really appreciate the support. And as always, I appreciate the support from my Patreon supporters. I couldn't do this show without your tremendous support. I greatly appreciate it. I don't expect any other videos this weekend, so I hope you all have a fantastic one. I will see you next week. Thanks for watching.